जय यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन जना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। राज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. We are reading from, since today is Vamana Dwadasi, so we'll be reading from 8th canto, chapter 22, entitled Bali Maharaja Surrenders His Life, text number 31 and 32. 31, 8:22-31. येष मे प्रापितस्थानम् दुष्प्रापम् अमरैरपि सावर्णेरन्तरस्यायम् भवितेन्द्रो मदाश्रयः। 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 एष मे प्रापितस्थानं दुष्प्रापम् अमरैरपि सावर्णेरन्तरस्यायम् भवितेन्द्रो मदाश्रयः एष मे प्रापितस्थानं दुष्प्रापम् अमरैरपि सावर्णेरन्तरस्यायम् भवितेन्द्रो मदाश्रयः एषः Bali Maharaj. Me, by me, prapitah, as achieved, sthanam, a place, dushprapam, extremely difficult to obtain, amare, api, even by the demigods, savarne antarasya, during the period of Manu, known as Savarni. I am this Bali Maharaj, Bhavita will become Indraha, the lord of the heavenly planets. Mat Ashrayaha, completely under my protection. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. The Lord continued, because of His great tolerance, I have given him a place not obtainable even by the demigods. He will become king of heavenly planets during the period of the Manu known as Savarni. Purport. This is the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even if the Lord takes away devotees' material opulences, the Lord immediately offers him a position of which the demigods cannot even dream. There are many examples of this in the history of devotional service. One of them is the opulence of Sudama Vipra. Sudama Vipra suffered severe material scarcity, but he was not disturbed and did not deviate from the devotional service. Thus, he was ultimately given an exalted position by the mercy of Lord Krishna. Here, the word Mad Ashraya is very significant because the Lord wanted to give Bali Maharaj the exalted position of Indra. The demigods might naturally have been envious of him and might have fought to disturb his position. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead assured Bali Maharaj that he would always remain under the Lord's protection, Madashrayaha. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmeditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsham Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So today there are many occasions. Ekadasi, Vijay Ekadasi, Vamana Dwadasi, and Jiva Goswami's appearance. Tomorrow is Bhakti Vinod Thakur's appearance. So today I'll try to share only about the Vamana Dwadasi, this episode in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 8th canto, consisting of 8 to 9 chapters completely dedicated for this pastime. It's very difficult to put describe all these 9 chapters in one session. So many lessons Prabhupada also mentions in this purpose, especially this chapter or this section. Prabhupada has given very elaborate, very deep meaning purports. So we'll see a few of them. So in this particular sloka today, which we are discussing, Yeshame Prapitastanam Dushprapam Amarerapi Savarned Antarasyayam Bhavitendro Madashraya. Prabhupada mentions in this purport that Madashraya is a very significant word. Because he will be Bali Maharaja, he will be completely under his protection, because he is going to give that a place of position of Indra. That also we'll see. So all this episode, everything begins with the question by Parikshit Maharaj to Sukadeva Goswami. So when Sukadeva Goswami described about the fight between the Devatas and Dhanavas, or the Asuras. So that time when Parikshit Sukadeva Goswami mentioned about this, then he asked, why did, 2 questions he had asked. Why did Supreme Lord, though he is the master of the wealth, he is the possessor of Lakshmi, why he has to go and beg 3 steps of land from Bali Maharaj? And why did, after taking the 3 steps, and why did he arrest him? So these are 2 questions Parikshit Maharaj is asking to Sukadeva Goswami. So for which Sukadeva Goswami describes all this, the whole episode of Vamana Dev and Bali Maharaj. We'll go. So in the background, when these 2 questions were asked, then Sukadeva Goswami starts answering. Then he tells that how when the demons and Devatas, when they were fighting, so that time, of course, that time demigods were so powerful, Indra, so they practically killed everybody. In that battle, even Bali Maharaj also was almost killed. Sometimes it is mentioned he is killed, but sometimes it is mentioned he is almost killed. So he became dead. So that time the followers of Sukracharya, so they have taken Bali Maharaj and some other demons, and then Sukracharya revived back to life of Bali Maharaj with Sanjeevani mantras. By chanting some mantras, he has revived back his life. So from that time onwards, Bali Maharaj became very obliged to Sukracharya, and he started following him very deeply, or we can say very closely. Whatever guidance, anything to rule his kingdom, so Sukracharya was guiding him. So this Sukracharya, so after reviving him, then he said that to make Bali Maharaj powerful, so he had, because Bali Maharaj had the desire of becoming the controller of all three worlds. He want to become the king of the three worlds, whole universe. So that time, our Sukracharya understood the mind of Bali Maharaj. Then he told him, okay, we'll do yajna. Then he did Vishwajit yajna, conducted with the calling the Brahmana priest from the Bhrigu dynasty. So they had come, expert Brahmanas, and they have done Vishwajit yajna. So with that yajna, Bali Maharaj got a lot of power, and he received a golden chariot, yellow horses, and then the bow and arrows, unconquerable bow and arrows. And Sukracharya himself gave him the conchal, and Prahlad Maharaj also comes and he gives ever fresh garland, which will never wither, is always fresh. So with that, he become more powerful, or Bali Maharaj. Just a minute. So after becoming so powerful, this Bali Maharaj, he wants to now conquer Indrapuri again. He want to take back. So because he has pleased Brahmanas and Guru, ultimately Supreme Lord, also by doing this yajna, he became so powerful. He became so powerful that his body was becoming so effulgent. When Bali Maharaj went to Indrapuri, where Indra was Indraloka, by seeing him only, Indra understood that no, Bali Maharaj is so powerful that we can't even face him. So then all the devatas, Indra, they go and approach Brihaspati and they tell that no, like this Bali Maharaj is approaching to conquer us. Then Brihaspati tells them that no, now it is, you can't face him because he has become so powerful by the power, by the blessings of Brahmanas pleasing them and the Supreme Lord doing this yajna. You can't face him, and now only option is now you in the back door you escape, all of you devatas, and then hide somewhere. So then he does that. Now you take different forms. They all assume different animals or different forms. They go hiding unseen by anybody till the time the proper time comes. Brihaspati tells that no, he will become he will offend his spiritual master Sukracharya when Lord appears as Vamana Dev. So that time he will offend, then he will lose his power. So that time you can conquer. So then all the devatas, everybody goes. Then that time Bali Maharaj goes and occupies that place. But these priests, Bhrigu priests, they tell him that no, somehow you have barged in and then you occupied this place, but you can't survive here long time because you didn't get the qualification. By force you got it, but to sit and continue in that seat or that post, you need to get qualified yourself. So for that you need to do 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas, because anybody who performs 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas, then they become eligible to sit on the throne of Indra. So then they arrange this, Sukracharya arranges through again this priest to conduct this 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas. So that is the time this Aditi, she becomes morose and lamenting the situation of her sons. Now, because they are deprived of their home, deprived of their post, nothing. They are, it's like no, they are absconding. They can't be seen, and they are so much trouble that for a mother, she can forego or bear any amount of trouble for herself, but she can't bear her children suffering. So it's a natural affection. So she wanted to help her children, but she can't help her own. So then she was waiting for her husband Kashyapa Muni. He went in deep trance meditation in wherever the forest they were staying. But she was waiting for after a long time of deep meditation. He comes out. So that time, by seeing her when he comes to the hut where they were staying, by seeing Aditi, he asked, "No, what happened? Why you are looking so morose, looking very dull?" Then he asked many questions of why is this the reason that you didn't serve Brahmanas properly, you didn't receive a guest properly, or did you commit any offense? All those such things. Is there any problem in the ashram? He asked. Then she tells, no, everywhere everything is fine, but except no, in this ashram, where because our children are not happy, they are deprived of home and their position, everything was taken away. So please help. So that time, Kashyap Muni, he smiles at Aditi because he is thinking, because Kashyapa Muni, he had so many wives. He is a Prajapati. So Aditi, Diti, Dhanu, there are many 13 wives of 13 daughters of Daksha he had married. So for him, demons and devatas, everybody is his children only. For him, it doesn't matter. Of course, he is a self-realized soul. For him, it doesn't matter. He feels that they are just reaping their karma actions. So eventually, everybody will understand and they will follow their path. He is not attached to them. So then he smiles and then he's thinking in his mind how this material world attraction is so much that even after being with such a self-realized soul, still somebody is looking for the material opulences or material possessions. So then he gives that the process of Payo Vrata, how he does that when I was supposed to expand the population. So that time Lord Brahma gave this Payovrata process. I followed. So this Payovrata is interesting thing. I was just going through. I'll just read the sloka. This 8:16:25. Aditi performs the Payovrata. Falgunasya male pakshe dwadasham payovratam archayed aravindaksham bhaktya paramaya nvitaha. 8:16:25. So he gives details also in which month it has to be followed. 8:16:25. In the bright fortnight of Falguna, for 12 days ending with Dwadasi, one should subsist only on milk and worship the lotus-eyed Lord Vishnu with unalloyed devotion. And then some more details he gives, how he has to smear the body with the where the wild boars, they dug the hole, that with that mud and bathe on the dark moon day. So many other mantras. So this Payovrata, Payo means the milk, Vrata means observing by taking just milk. I was saying this Payovrata is just 12 days. If somebody can do this 12 days of Vrata, they could see the Lord, and Lord will, it mentioned that he mentions that Lord will. Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadramai ki, Shri Lakshmi Narasimhadev ki, Shri Gaurnitai ki. Prabhupada. Then he tells, by following this Vrata, Lord will personally appear and fulfill all desires. So interesting Payovrata. But Prabhupada very interestingly mentions in the purport or the end of this chapter. So this is how we understand the deep meaning or the idealistic principles which is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Like what translation or sloka tells, if we may not be able to directly apply those things, but when we read the purports of Acharyas, how Prabhupada writes the purport, this how this Payovrata can be. Prabhupada mentions that this can be applicable. This is applicable even now in Kali Yuga also. One follows, you will get the same benefit. So in the 8:16:60 purport, the end of this chapter, 16th chapter, Prabhupada mentions, if you open the purport, 8:16:60, in the middle, it says, the Payovrata ceremony is performed from the 1st to the 13th day of bright fortnight of moon. So, and then Prabhupada mentions now how we can practice this. But in our Krishna consciousness movement, Lord Vishnu is worshipped in every temple according to a schedule of 24 hours of engagement in performing Kirtana, chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, offering palatable food to Lord Vishnu, and distributing this food to Vaishnavas and others. These are authorized activities. And if the members of the Krishna consciousness movement stick to these principles, they will achieve the same result one gains by observing the Payovrata ceremony. So in that way, we are every day practicing, doing Payovrata. So this is how we, the importance of reading Prabhupada's purports, that if we don't read, we may not be able to understand, we may not be able to even apply that in our life. So when we read Prabhupada's purport, because that the principles which were given in the millions of years ago, and in the different realm, people who lived there, for them it was given, but still the same principle can be applied in our life through reading, understanding the purports. Just by sloka, we may not be able to understand. So that's the importance of reading Prabhupada's purport regularly. So, and there's also the power of parampara. Prabhupada also gave his purports from the reading Acharya's commentaries, and then he gave in essence. So when the Acharyas, this parampara is not there, we may not be able to understand the intricacies of what is mentioned in that sloka. So after this Payovrata ceremony, she executes it very diligently, follows all those things, drinking milk and offering siv trays to Lord and distributing and chanting, worshipping. So then at the end of the Vrata, then Lord appears in the next chapter, that is 8:17:18. Then Lord agrees to become Aditi's son. Lord, Tvayarchitaschaham apatya guptaye Payovratena samiditaha Swamsena putratvam upetya te sutan Guptasmi Maricha tapasya adistitaha. 8:17:18. I shall become your son by my plenary portion, Amsha, and thus protect your other sons. I have been worshipped by you properly by performance of Payovrata, and I am situated in Kashyapa Muni's austerities. So after that, appearing in front of Aditi, Lord then promising that I will appear as your son and then help your other sons. Then he immediately appears in the mind of Kashyapa, and then from Kashyapa's mind, Lord enters the womb of Aditi. Same like how Lord Krishna entered Devaki's womb from the mind. First he appeared in the mind of Vasudeva and then Devaki. And here also, so after this, then she feels that the Lord has entered her home. Then when he appeared immediately, so he also, like how when Krishna appeared in the jail of Kamsa, Mathura, in the same that 400 form, Lord appeared. And then after prayers of Aditi, then he becomes again, he takes the form of a dwarf Brahmana. So then immediately, because there is no Balya Leela or anything much there like Lord Krishna, it is just that one incident. As soon as he was appeared, Then immediately all the samskaras were done, Upanayan samskara and first birthday ceremony, everything. And all the different personalities, devatas, they all came to give different gifts. So they gave, and then immediately after receiving all those things, he starts, because then he tells that no, I understood. Of course, when he appeared in the 400 form, he tells, I know the purpose of your doing this payovrata, I will fulfill that. Then immediately he leaves for Vamana Yajna, where Bali Yajna, where Bali Maharaja is performing 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas. So when he goes the arena of Bali Maharaj, from distance only, his body was so effulgent, Vamanadev. And Bali, seeing the effulgence of Vamanadev, he understands that some great personality is coming. Though he's looking like a small boy, but he's a great personality. So then he comes as soon as interesting thing. I'll just read for you. Vamanadev enters the Bali Maharaj sacrificial arena. Due to Vamana's effulgence, Bali Maharaj, his priests and others were robbed of their splendor. Means whatever Bali Maharaj also had that much effulgence glow, that also has gone in front of Vamana's effulgence. They asked one another, is he the sun or fire or Sanat Kumaras? So then all the priests and Bali Maharaj receive Vamanadev with appreciation and with seat, washing his feet. So Bali Maharaj receives Vamanadev and becomes jubilant by seeing his beauty. Of course, there is a few slokas mentioned how beautiful Vamanadev's body is. Then Bali Maharaj speaks to Vamanadev. He says that after welcoming him, he tells, by your auspicious arrival at my home, It Bhavan Agato Grahan, in my home, today all my forefathers are satisfied. Adyana Pitaras Triptha. Today, and all our dynasty have been sanctified, and all my sacrifice become complete, and all my sins are destroyed just by washing your foot. Then entire earth is sanctified by your touch of your small feet. So this is how Bali Maharaj welcomes Vamanadev, appreciates him, and then asks him, so it seems that you have come here to me. That means you are looking for something. You wanted to ask something. So please ask me anything from me. So I'm ready to give whatever you ask. Do you want should I give you a cow or gold or a furnished house, palatable food and drink, or a daughter of a Brahmana for your wife, or prosperous villages, horses, elephants, chariots, anything else, whatever you want? So like that, Bali Maharaj asked Vamanadev. So then, because he had received Vamanadev, then Bali Maharaj also appreciates, praises the Bali Maharaj and whole dynasty. First he praises him. He praises his words. Your words are true, worthy of your dynasty, in accordance with the religious etiquette, how he has received him. Then Bali Maharaj praises his superiors, one is Sukracharya, one who helps him in this material world, and then other is Prahlad Maharaj, who helps him for the next future world, because he is following Prahlad Maharaj also. Then Vamanadev praises Bali Maharaj's dynasty, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Prahlad Maharaj, and Virochana, everybody. So this is how when we go for because he is going to ask something. So before asking something, in general, we praise somebody. We also have experience. Somebody comes and praises Prabhuji, you are so and so. That means we are thinking, what is he going to ask? He is expecting something. That's why he is glorifying. So Then because Vamana Deva is going to ask some charity, not some charity, everything what Bali possesses. So then after praising this, how the fund collection also, when we go, we do, we recently we were discussing how to do fund collection in our Brahmachari Sangha in Warangal. So they are telling that we go and praise that person, because everybody likes praise, even devotees also. So praise him and then they will happily give. So that's how same. So if we follow Vaman Dev, so we may also able to do that. So then he tells, I want just 3 steps of land according to measurement of my foot, because he is, the condition is that according to my measurement of my foot size. He has not expanded, he is a small boy only. So so that time Sukracharya immediately gets up. He becomes very angry. Then he tells, please, you don't promise him that you will, because he has to touch water and then say Om Tat Sat. Then it is complete, that promise. Then he says, don't promise. He is none other than Lord Vishnu. He has come just to take away all your wealth, and then he will arrest you also, he tells. No, kya dimag hai? Sukracharya could understand who is that person and why he had come also. He could see his future also. Sorry? Yeah. So, but then Bali Maharaj tells that no, here it is, the teacher is telling something, but it is not in line with the teachings which he has been teaching, or the original teachings of the scriptures. So Bali Maharaj has to choose between the teacher and the teaching. The teacher is telling something which is contradictory to the teachings of the scriptures. He's telling Vishnu has come, but don't promise him that you will give. You can take back your whatever you said, that no, I will give whatever you want. And then he gives some different, he quotes Shastras, how in such situations you can take back your promise. Because if you give just by giving, he is coming begging. By giving a beggar, you don't become no beggar after giving like that. No, sometimes if somebody gives such a donation, that no, after giving donation, he has to ask him, give me 10 rupees, I had to go back to my home. I don't have anything for the auto charges. Not like that. So then Sukracharya tells him so many reasons how he can avoid this. Then Bali Maharaj tells that how, yeah, I can't, he has to choose, of course, here. Then he chooses the teachings, not the teacher. Because when Lord Vishnu has come for begging means asking. So even if it is, no, I have to give everything, my own life, I will give, because I can't, because I am, 2 things is mentioned. One is because of, I am connected to Prahlad Maharaj. If I not follow the promise which I gave, then that is blemish to Prahlad Maharaj. So I can't, and I follow because I gave the word in front of the Supreme Lord, of course, to the Supreme Lord, other Brahmana. So I can't take back my promise. So I will follow, I will give what I promised. So I will follow truthfulness. Then he promises, he touches water, and then, okay, take. So that time, actually, the story starts. So as soon as he promised, okay, Bali Maharaj, then Vaman Dev started growing, expanding his size. Nobody can perform this in drama. How much he can lift his leg, can go. So he, with one step, he covered all the earth, and another step, he covered a whole sky till universe. He pierced the universe also. That's how the Ganges came. And everybody, all the other exalted personalities in higher planets, everybody praised Lord. Brahma also worshipped. So this, this is a crisis for And after this, it's not just he is covering, so he is asking. Then Lord reduces the size back to dwarf Brahmana because he covered in 2 steps. He asked, no, where is the place for 3rd step? And because you have not fulfilled your promise of giving 3 steps, because I covered everything, there is nothing left to keep place my 3rd step. Then where can I keep? Because you promised, you failed to keep your promise, so I will arrest you. So then Garuda was there. Garuda arrests with that I don't know, Varuna Pasha, I think. Bali Maharaj was arrested. So when he arrested, that time all the demons tried to attack Vamana, because they are thinking that no, my master is being arrested. He is being cheated. He told only 3 steps and he expanded. He didn't tell that no, how much size the step is. So then they all with their weapons, they started attacking Vaman Dev. Of course, immediately all the Vishnu Dutas came and then they scattered them. Even Bali Maharaj told them, don't no attack. He's the Supreme Lord. So then they all ran away in fear of Vishnu Dutas. All the followers of Bali Maharaj. Then after arrest, so after this incident, then he was arrested. Then Prahlad Maharaj, Brahma also comes, and Vindhyavali, who was also there, who welcomed also Vaman Dev when he came, washing his feet. She only brought the water. She was also there, present there. So the first Prahlad Maharaj speaks. Prahlad comes there and he speaks. Bali could not offer befitting response to Prahlad Maharaj due to being also first. Prahlad Maharaj said, "The Lord, dear devotee, appeared there and like a rising moon. He was dark." Prahlad Maharaj was overwhelmed by seeing the Lord with his associates. He had tears of jubilation and then he prayed. "You saved Bali Maharaj," Prahlad Maharaj said. "My Lord, it is you who gave heaven to Bali, and it is you who have now taken it. In both situations, you are equally merciful. By taking away all Bali's opulences, you have saved him from bewilderment of mind." It means Prahlad Maharaj is telling that it is not Lord cheated Bali Maharaj. Lord has taken away the things which was cheating Bali Maharaj, because Bali Maharaj he had the desire to conquer the whole world and he wanted to become the king. That opulence, power, or the position, or the wealth, but that is actually cheating, because that will make power, post, position, material things which will keep one bound in this material world, and that is in that way that is cheating the person who is possessing it. So then Prahlad Maharaj is telling that you are actually not cheating Bali, but you are taking away, you are not taking away things from Bali, but you are taking away the things which was cheating Bali Maharaj. And then Prahlad said, "Material opulence is so bewildering that it makes even a learned, self-controlled man forget to pursue the goal of self-realization. But Narayana, the Lord of the universe, is the witness of everything. So I offer my respect to him." So after Prahlad Maharaj, Brahma was about to speak. Tell him, but Vindhyavali, because of she is also worried that because her husband is arrested, and she also speaks. So then Brahma becomes silent, respecting her that she wanted to speak. Then first Vindhyavali speaks. She chastises Bali Maharaj. She says that, no, oh Lord, you have created this universe for your pastimes, but foolish, shameless agnostics claim proprietorship over it for their enjoyment and think themselves as the doers or donors. What can they do for you, the creator, maintainer, and destroyer of the universe? So after this, Brahma speaks. Interesting thing. Brahma says that, please release Bali, O well-wisher and master of all, because Brahma tells that, if somebody offers a little flower, water, one fruit, you give him with devotion, they will get your place at your residence. But here Bali Maharaj offered everything, even though his guru has stopped him, but he has given everything out of devotion, everything he has surrendered. But you are arresting him and telling him that because Vamana told him, and because of this punishment, you have to go to hell. And you are arresting him and telling that he has to go to hell. If somebody gives one little water, fruit, flower, they will get Vaikunta, and here he gave everything and he is going to hell. So what is this? Brahma is asking question to Vaman Dev. Bali Maharaj offered everything he had earned by his pious acts, including his own body, with no hesitation in mind. So all these things, after explaining, then Vamanadeva replies to Brahma. Then he tells that actually poverty is Lord's mercy. He speaks about 5 things. Poverty, a dull-minded person puffed up with material opulence has no respect for anyone and defies even my authority. I favor such person by taking away all his possessions. So by taking away, he gives mercy. And then if somebody possesses such opulence, and if he is still prideless, that is also Lord's mercy. There's a few things Lord tells him. And he doesn't take away things from those people who is not disturbed by having material possessions. And then Vamanadeva glorifies the Bali Maharaja's forbearance, tolerance, and truthfulness. This is what this sloka speaks about also. Tolerance of Bali Maharaj. So from this we can understand how the situation, or this whole Bhagavatam, and the whole Bhagavatam, this is the recurring theme, that situation, reversals can come in any form, any way, at any time. In Bali Maharaj's case, it is unique because if you see whole Bhagavatam, it begins with the reversal in the life of Parikshit Maharaj. He did a small mistake, just keeping the dead snake around that Samik Rishi's neck. For that, he was cursed to death. Itna sa punishment ke liye itna sa mistake ke liye itna bada punishment, big punishment. So like that whole Bhagavatam, if you see from the crisis in the devotee's life, beginning with Parikshit Maharaj, then first canto it comes Narada Muni, then even Bhishma, Draupadi, Kunti, whole Pandavas, of course. And then the Dhruva Maharaj, yeah, crisis bol raha tha. So Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, and of course Ambarish Maharaj, the Bali here itself. Devotees, there is in Dhruva Maharaj's case, it was just a little insult. But in other devotees' case, of course, even that also difficult because he goes back to forest in the age of 5. He does such a austerity. And Prahlad Maharaj, he was just a 5-year-old boy. He didn't do any mistake. What he did was just worshipping the Supreme Lord. He didn't even tell, no, Hiranyakashipu, you also chant Hare Krishna. He didn't tell him, he didn't preach to him. He was just practicing. But for that, no, he was, so many ways he was tried to kill. And Krishna himself, before even his birth, the plan of assassination was planned. No, how he should be killed from even at the time of marriage of his parents. So Krishna has to dodge everything. And then so it is, then when we see whole Bhagavatam, it is this the pastimes of how devotees are suffering, not just suffering, so much suffering. Then we may get a question, how is that? No, why only devotees are suffering? And so much that they are suffering that one cannot even bear that if we have to go through such thing. So then we get only two answers for this question. Why devotees suffer so much? One is, it's in some cases it is for their purification, and mostly it is for their glorification. So if you see all these episodes, how the devotees, we may ask, no, why do bad things happen to good people? All these devotees are great devotees, good people. Why so much bad thing is happening? So instead of asking, this is how Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami narrates the story of so many stories in the Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, because Parikshit Maharaj himself was in difficulty crisis. So instead of asking, why do bad things happen to good people? So I should be asking how Sukadeva Goswami explains how a devotee responds to such reversals or such when such bad things happen to them. So this how, because why this whole Bhagavatam is filled with such stories is for us, because in our life also anytime the reversals can come. How we respond instead of asking, because we hear, like we have heard also devotees, some people, when such a difficulty comes in their life, people, Prabhupada mentions in this one of the purport, say what Lord has tested, Bali Maharaja, if such a test comes to ordinary person cannot survive such a situation. Prabhupada mentions in the purport, one cannot survive a severe test. So such tests, when it comes to our life, what, like Kunti is praying, actually she's asking more trouble. But when such a trouble comes, like what happened, like can you imagine, he is the owner of all the three worlds, but in the next moment everything is taken away. Not just he is arrested and he is told he will be going to hell. Such a situation, if Lord gives that suffering, we may say, no, we are devotees, we are practicing, you are giving such a trouble, please take back your bead back, you only chant Hare Krishna to you, be happy with your. So like that, many devotees also, when the difficulties come in their life, somebody dear ones passes away or something happens, crisis, devotees even sometimes they leave bhakti, they lose faith in the process in the Lord. Because why? Because of course, here we see that he had that much faith and attachment to the Lord by the blessings of Prahlad Maharaj and the blessings of even the Lord. Otherwise, it is not so easy to survive in such a situation. So that's why Sukadeva Goswami is filled Bhagavatam with such narrations, because first thing when such a crisis comes, the mind tells us that nobody is suffering. You are the only one. First it tells you are the only one suffering. Nobody else is suffering in this world. And then even if we hear that somebody says no, the other people also suffering, then mind tells us that okay, even if other people are suffering, they are not suffering as much as I am suffering. So this is how mind tells and takes us aside and slaughters us, makes us self-pity, and then kills us. This is how people, they take extreme steps when the crisis comes to their life, because mind always gets us aloof. and then slaughters us. So that's why this Bhagavatam is mentioned, filled with such stories. So first thing is that should calm down mind. So when Parikshit Maharaj's life also such a crisis came that he has to die in 7 days. So Maharaj Sukadev Goswami wanted to make his mind calm first. So that's why he's telling all these stories, how devotees have faced more crisis than what he has faced, so that he understand, okay, everybody's, not that I am suffering, many people are suffering much greater. So this is very important thing, because it's not everybody is suffering. In the psychotherapy, this in general it is done alone, individual psychotherapy, to somebody is going through some difficulties, to help them out. So now there is a concept called group psychotherapy, where people, those who are suffering, they are put in the group and they are asked to speak out their problems. So it's very difficult to speak. Difficulties are the crisis one is going through in front of others, new people also. Of course, they have that confidentiality codes, all those things. So what happens? It is becoming successful or giving more results, because when the people hear that I am not only the suffering, there are so many people who are suffering and different sufferings, then they become hopeful. Okay, it's like misery is democratic. Everybody is suffering. Okay, I am also. So that time, such the keeping our mind calm when such crisis is more important. At the same time, just keeping calm mind will not just happen like that. So it comes by our gradual progressive attachment towards Lord, and having relationship with the Lord and the relationship with the devotees. When such a deep relationship is there, our superiors and friends, when we go and confide, it's often that relationship builds more stronger when we confide or express our heart to other devotees, the difficulties which we are going through. They feel pity or the empathy, and that's how their relationship also becomes very strong. So that time, it helps us to come out of such situations. Otherwise, if we are alone, we don't have anybody, then we are slaughtered by our mind. So this why Bali Maharaja, the Sukadeva Goswami has mentioned, filled Bhagavatam with such stories. In our life also, it can come anytime. So we have to be, of course, for that, our regular keeping in touch with the scriptures also is needed, also with the association of devotees, and developing attachment to the process, especially the Supreme Lord, by rendering devotional service, whatever regularly we are doing. So that way we can come out of such crisis in our life. So this was Bali Maharaj. After that he gives, then he tells, so my Lord, now I have given everything. Now you can keep your third step on my head, because you have taken away all wealth, but the greater than all the possessions or wealth is the possessor of the wealth. So you can keep your foot on my head. Then Lord Vamana Dev, now he is actually small. He's not big, because such a big foot he keeps, Bali may become crushed. So because already he has come down the small boy, so he keeps, and then Bali Maharaj became so happy. So that is the time he became Bali Maharaj as one of the Mahajan. It began when he washed the feet of the Vamana Dev, and then when he took his first feet on his head, that's the time he became Mahajan. So that's how Bali Maharaj fully surrendered himself to the Supreme Lord. So then after that episode, then he tells that I will, then of course he's responding to Brahmaji's space, that I will, it's not just he will go to the Sutala. Sutala is the place. It's because Brahmaji is telling that no, you are telling you should go to Sutala. It is a hellish planet. So no, it is not hellish planet, though it is the lower planet, but it is made by who is that? Vishwakarma, and that has much, almost it's same like heaven, and I will be there personally to guard him. And then why Lord as God? Because I have taken away everything, but similarly, nobody should come and take away from Bali Maharaj again. So I will guard, so nobody comes and disturbs. This how Lord, he takes away things like Indra and Aditi. They prayed Aditi prayed that what she wanted for Indra, and then Indra also wanted it back, his kingdom. He gave what he wanted, but for Bali Maharaj, he gave him himself. So sometimes we get what we wanted, but sometimes that is not. That's much more than we ask Lord. No, I want this. Actually, we should ask Lord himself. He's giving ourselves. So this Lord gives himself to Bali Maharaj. So and then there is some Lord's discussion with Sukracharya, the fault, all those things. We don't have time now, so I'll pause here. So one thing, two aspects in this lessons which we can learn is that how to. First thing is how we can. When such a crisis comes, the decision here, Bali Maharaj took the decision of following the teacher or the teachings. So that proper decision, taking decision, because taking decision is not easy thing. We have to face the consequences also. Because he took decision, he has to lose everything. But he got the ultimate Supreme Lord. And so we have to be very careful while taking decisions. But for that, taking proper decision also comes through proper study of scriptures and hearing from Guru and Parampara. That's how he could follow the teachings. And second is how in such a crisis, how we should take shelter of the devotees and the Supreme Lord. The more the difficulties come, the more we should take shelter of the Supreme Lord and the devotees. Not that, oh, so much difficulties coming, we go away from the association or the Lord. So that's how Bali Maharaj took shelter. In the whole Bhagavatam, it is all the devotees who had crisis in their life, they took shelter of the Lord. That's how they came out victorious. See, it was a severe test of Supreme Lord for Bali Maharaj, but Bali Maharaj passed the test with the flying colors. He got the Lord himself. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Kantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yes. Give him mic. Time is up.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, in the case Bali Maharaj,
yes,
like he get the mercy of the Lord. Personally, like before that, he has not perform any. That's what I understand. Perform any like sadhana for Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu, for to please them, or personally, like before Lord take him test, he has not did anything like what like others do to get the mercy of the Lord. So he direct get the mercy of the Lord. So how I can understand?
Yeah, he had the connection with his grandfather Prahlad Maharaj, also his father Virochana. Virochana also is not less. He also Indra, when he asked him, Indra came as an old Brahmana and begged him. Then Virochana also said, "What do you want? Whatever you want, I will give." He said, "Give me your head." Then Virochana cut his head and gave him. So that is, and Prahlad Maharaj himself, of course, he had more connection with Prahlad Maharaj. That is the main reason that he could. Also, he has pleased the Brahmanas by worshipping them, following and doing that yajna. Also, Lord's mercy was there for him. It is said that he is Kripa Siddha. He got, it's not sadhana, Bali Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Thank you very much for very nice details of past time you told that Vishnu Dutas coming out from Vaman Dev. So small question only, just for curiosity. In 10th chapter Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells amongst priest or someone, I'm Shukracharya. So just wanted to know what is the understanding.
Yes, here it appears that no, Bali Maharaja, Sukracharya is telling no, don't give anything to no Lord Vishnu, but Krishna is telling that no, among the thinkers, no, great thinkers, I am Shukracharya, Lord tells. But if you see the end of this, when the Lord interacts with the Sukracharya after telling Bali Maharaj along with his associates to go to Sutala planet, then he asks him, no, I'll just read that. Ask him, what is the fault in Bali Maharaj that you cursed him, that he will lose everything? He'll go to hell. Then what Sukracharya tells, from this that we can understand. Of course, he was not practicing pure devotional service, but he knows Lord Vishnu, and he's expert. And he tells that no, my Lord, he knows the glories of Lord also. Let's see that. Sukracharya admits his fault in cursing Bali. Then he tells, where is the chance of discrepancies in sacrifice, where you, the master of the rituals, the master of the enjoyer of all sacrifices, are worshipped in all respects? And then Sukracharya also tells the power of holy name, Lord's holy name. The faults in chanting the mantras, observing rules in regards to time, place, circumstances, and paraphernalia are all become nullified and faultless when your holy name is chanted. Anusankirtanam tava sarvam karoti nishchidram anusankirtanam tava. So yet I must follow your order. By obeying your order is most auspicious. Of course, here it says that even Sukracharya, what he cursed also is or why he told Bali Maharaj not to promise also is Lord's influence was there. Otherwise, you see, he is telling that no, how his holy name, power of his holy name, and when Lord is worshipped, there is no discrepancy, there is no fault in his yajna. So from this we can understand. In this way, Sukracharya joyfully executing the Lord's order, compensating for the discrepancies in the sacrifice performed by Bali Maharaj and help. So he has completed that remaining sacrifices. So from this we can understand he is, of course, he is not mentioned anywhere as practicing pure devotional service, but he is expert in whatever that sacrifice or whatever he is guiding. Hare Krishna.
Just a reflection, Prabhu. Very nice class. Thank you for that. You mentioned very nicely the two aspects. One is when Lord takes away some material opulences, and also when he doesn't. So as long as it is coming in the way of one's progress or bhakti. So I really like that point. Like we can see all through Prabhupada's life, he was able to use his whatever his resources in supporting spiritual activities, and at some point he looked at it like that. But I was just trying to relate. Like at some point, it went away, and he saw it as mercy of the Lord. Like
yes,
when
Prabhupada quoted that verse also.
Yeah. So there's no we cannot imitate the externals, like losing the opulence, thinking that is progress, or the same time. So I was trying to relate like application in our lives. Sometimes the externals of losing material opulences equated to making progress. So it was a nice caution, both aspects.
Yeah, it is not by losing something, material thing we get, but by engaging those material things in Lord, we get that mercy, not by losing something. Because Prabhupada was not in that mode, losing thing. If it goes, despite our well protection, or then that we can't. But if we have, the principle is that we engage in Lord's service. Otherwise, anyway, it will be taken away at the time of death. That's what Bali Maharaja also tells to Sukracharya. No, at the time of, but forcefully everything is taken away. Better I give this opportunity, nobody gets. One can fight in the battle and lose his life, but more than that is giving everything to the Lord. That opportunity doesn't come to anybody. So the greatest chance. So I want to give. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Mantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.